Live from my kitchen to yours, we present Making Prayer Pretzels with Chef Anna and Pastor Caitlin. We hope that you enjoy our video and that you're able to follow along with us. So first, you're going to want to grab those ingredients for the prayer pretzels. So you're going to need some yeast, some salt, and some regular granulated sugar. So first, we need to make sure Chef Anna can help us out here. Maybe we should bring Chef Anna closer to the action. You're also going to need a whisk and a wooden spoon, or maybe 2 wooden spoons, depending on how many chefs you have in your house. So take a large bowl, like this one, and add to it either a package of Rapid Rise Yeast or 2 1/4 teaspoons of Rapid Rise Yeast. 1, 2, and then if you have a little helper chef, they can help you add 1/4. Next, you're going to add a teaspoon of salt, and have your little chef help you with that too. And then you're also going to add a teaspoon of sugar. Now, not every chef likes to wear a chef's hat, but some chefs will tolerate it. So let's get that teaspoon of sugar. And then the little chef can help you add that to the mix. And then finally, to the salt, sugar, and yeast, you and your little chef will add 1 cup of flour. You're going to whisk all of that together so that you incorporate the flour, the sugar, and the yeast. And then once you've whisked that, you're going to add 1.5 cups of warm water. And I just took some tap water and microwaved it. So we're going to add that to the bowl. Easy peasy. And then you're going to whisk it again together. And try to get all the glops of this out. Now you're going to take that wooden spoon that you and your chef have, and you're going to see if the chef is willing to share with you. And you're going to add first 1 cup of flour. So this is the 2nd cup of flour. And then you're going to stir that all together. And then you're going to measure out a 2nd cup of flour and do the same thing. So you should have 3 cups of flour total for your mixture at this point. So I'm adding that 2nd cup of flour right now and giving that a stir. So you'll see that it takes a little bit of time to incorporate all the flour with the spoon. This is the fun part if you have someone in your house who likes to stir. Or at this point, you could even use your hands instead. Just remember to wash your hands first, because they might have been in your mouth and you want to make sure that you have nice clean hands for the recipe. Okay, so after you've stirred that, incorporating the flour from the sides of the bowl, you are going to add, probably measure out another 1/2 cup of flour, and then you're going to slowly add and incorporate that until the dough gets less sticky and is pulling away from the sides of the bowl a little more. I'll add that flour and show you what it should look like. You can see that I've added about another 1/4 cup of flour and the dough is starting to come together. It's not quite as sticky as it was. I'm going to mix that a little more to incorporate more of the flour. So I've added another 1/4 cup of flour at this point. So that's about 3.5 cups of flour total. And you can see that a really nice dough is starting to form, but it's still sticking to the spoon. So at this point, I'd suggest flouring your hands and getting in there to incorporate that and make a nice dough. So it's always good to flour your hands, your clean hands. And then this is if you have some little helpers who are maybe a little bigger than Anna, you can really get in there and incorporate that dough together. Some people have the need to knead and incorporate. And once you really feel it together, it has kind of a nice texture. It's holding well. It's not sticking to your hands too much. You can get those bits of dough off the spoon, and you can really start to feel a nice dough coming together. So once your dough gets to about this point, what you're going to want to do is just take a clean towel and cover your bowl and put that in a warm place to rest. Now, if you used instant yeast, you can have that bowl sitting for about 10 minutes. And if you used regular yeast, you're going to want that rest for about 30 minutes, and it's going to rise. See you in a few minutes. Chef Anna, can you tell us when you started cooking? Not sure? That's okay. So I just took the bread. It has been rising for about 45 minutes. I ended up covering it with plastic wrap and putting it in my oven for the proofing function. But you'll notice now it's nice and bubbly and soft and ready for the next step of the recipe. So now for this next section of the recipe, I recommend getting out whether on your counter, if you have like a mat, a silicone mat you can put down, or flouring your counter really well so that you have a place to work the dough. So now Anna is going to help me roll out some pretzel dough. You're going to invert your bowl, get all that goodness out of there onto a lightly floured surface. So I've taken the dough out of the bowl and I put it on a floured surface, and you're going to use your hands and just knead that dough, divide it in half, and you're just going to work it so that you can keep dividing it until you can get 16 small balls of dough, which are going to be what will form your 16 pretzels that you'll be making. Now, if you want to make more pretzels or less, you certainly can do that, but the dough seems to divide well so that you have enough to make 16. My chef assistant has gone to take a little play break, but you can see that I now have 16 roughly even balls of dough. So what you're going to do is you're going to form some nice, roll these out just a little bit with your floured hands so that you're just getting a nice ball of dough. And the dough should be very pliable, and if you have flour in your hands, it really shouldn't be sticking too much. So once you've formed all of these dough balls, what you're going to want to do is then let this rest for another 10 or 15 minutes, and then you'll be ready to shape the pretzels. There we go. Let's see what our chef assistant is doing, and I'll be back with you in a few minutes. Our chef assistant is taking a break from the hard work of rolling out dough to let the dough balls rise, because she's really excited to start shaping some pretzels. Hey friends, we're back after the second rise of the dough. I want to show you that the pretzels are now ready to roll out. So you can see the dough is nice and puffy and squishy. and we are ready to make prayer pretzels. Well, actually, I'm ready to roll out the prayer pretzels, and Anna is gonna go take a nap. Hey friends, we are back. Anna is now upstairs napping, so we are going to be rolling out the pretzels now. So first, you're gonna wanna preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so now while your oven is preheating, what you're gonna wanna do is take that work surface and you're going to be rolling the dough out to make the prayer pretzels. And so I'm gonna do my best to show you how to do that. So first you're gonna have a nice floured surface. So I'm gonna move the camera down so you can see what we're doing here. So got my nice puffy balls of pretzel dough. And so first you're going to roll the ball, you're gonna flour your hands and have plenty of flour on the surface. And then you're gonna roll it out like a log or a snake. This is spreading God's arms out wide because we think how God has the whole world in God's hands. And so, and this, if you have some assistant chefs, this is a great thing for them to help. So we think about God's love spread out open wide. And then we move this into a shape of a U because of how God holds all of the world's love in God's hands. Then you're gonna twist the tops of the U twice and fold them down to meet the bottom of the U. So this is my first attempt at a pretzel, and you can see that I probably need to roll the log out a little skinnier. So let's try that again. So roll out a snake. You know, that serpent in the Garden of Eden story, we often sometimes gets a bad rap, but snakes are actually quite crafty. And I would say the longer snake you can make, the more interesting your pretzel will be, the more God's love can stretch out. So this looks much better the second time around. So we've got God's love spread out wide, a U holding God's love for the world, twisting the tops twice. Oh, twisting them. We are still learning. Twisting twice, and then, oh, see? Sometimes your second try is a little better. So I'm gonna do one more on video, but I know that pretzel making is an art that sometimes takes practice, and we are learning how to do new things as we worship online, as we work online, as we have distance learning online. It's all online these days. But sometimes it's nice just to get our hands on some dough and meditate on how simple things can be beautiful, and how God knits the world together, and how God's love can stretch and expand to encompass so much. So as you're making these pretzels, think about who and what you pray for. God's arms spread out wide, a U to hold God's love for the world, twisting together God's love, and then making a pretzel shape. That one's more like a heart, like the heart of God's love. So you can, I'm gonna move this camera back up. You can experiment with a whole variety of shapes. And so you're gonna make these pretzels and shape each of them, put them on a cookie sheet, and then we're gonna brush them with an egg and water and egg wash mixture. So I'm gonna shape the rest of these pretzels, and then I'll show you the next step. Have fun spreading God's arms wide, opening the world to God's love, twisting it all together as we pray for the world, recognizing that God holds it all in God's hands. Hey friends, we are back. So by now you have shaped all of your pretzels, and I've done mine so that I have 8 on each baking tray. Then you're going to crack 2 eggs and a 1/3 cup of water and make an egg wash. And I realize this is actually a lot of egg wash, so you'd probably be fine with just 1 egg and a little bit of water. And then if you have one of these little like pastry brushes, you can use that. Or you can just use a spoon and kind of brush the mixture over the pretzels. And the idea is that this egg wash both gives them a nice golden color, but also lets stuff stick to them. And so I am doing one of my sheets as joy pretzels. And so on those, I'm going to be putting cinnamon sugar for the sweet things in life, the joy that we lift up to God in prayer. And then on the other sheet, I am going to be doing 2 different types of more savory or salty pretzels. One of them is with, I'm going to do half with this everything bagel seasoning, because God is in everything and we lift up our prayers, and sometimes our prayers are a jumble of all kinds of things that we're feeling. So I'm going to do 4 of these with everything seasoning. And then the other ones, I'm going to use some like a kosher or a flake sea salt, recognizing that sometimes we cry and tears are salty, and that God hears our cries, God hears our prayers. And so we can go to God in prayer with everything. And sometimes we thank God for the sweet stuff in life, the sugary, sparkly things. And sometimes we have to go to God in our grief and our prayers and our lament. So I invite you to decorate your prayer pretzels with this egg wash, and then whatever kind of topping or no topping at all, whatever makes sense to you. Maybe you're feeling more joyful, maybe you need some salty tears, or maybe you need a mixture of joy and concern in your house as you are making these prayer pretzels. Friends, the prayer pretzels are ready to come out of the oven. Look how good they are. We have our cinnamon sugar sweet joy pretzels, and we have our savory concern pretzels with our salt and our everything bagel. I look forward to breaking bread with you on Sunday. Thank you for joining us, and may God's peace and may God's prayers be with you in the meantime. Bye. Chef Anna just woke up from her nap, and she's gonna see what she thinks about these pretzels. Is it yummy? Yeah. Oh, you're not sure. Yeah, pretzels. Pretzels.